Oh, hello. There have been stories resurfacing in the news about the DNS lookups and all kind of computer fun stuff between a server in Trump Tower and Alfa Bank in Russia, and how it looked dodgy. Kind of disappeared out of the news for a long time, but it's slowly creeping back in with more reporting being done. So I'm wondering if server in Trump Tower was communicating with the server at Alfa Bank for nefarious purposes. Did it have something to do with the Trump campaign? The energy I feel is, it feels like I want to throw up my hands and say, oh, come on. You have got to be kidding. That is so wrong. But that's just the feeling I'm getting. Let's see what the cards have to say. Well, I suppose you can think of it as the D card for the reading, because have you seen that traditional Russian dance where the men cross their arms and kick one leg out and then the other? That's what this feels like. And then, the obnoxious display of gold in the background feels like Trump, so it would be across the ocean. That's the card for the reading. In the past, well, this is about the campaign. People staying partially hidden. Let's see what we've got. Secrets. I got this card in this place in another reading too. A reading on Trump, I believe. The base of the reading. Information. Moving information. Money, information, money, information, money, information. There's also some tie-in with the DeVos. This is servers controlled by, essentially linked to the DeVos family. That had to do with, is it Cigna? One of the medical insurance companies, or one of the medical companies. Which there was some talk in the news at one point about, well, that would give them access to information about people that might help. It might help Trump win the election. Above the reading, Trump in the middle of his garden of weeds of crime that will hopefully ultimately bear bitter fruit, because crime does not pay. So says the shadow. As much as journalists have looked at this feels like Mueller is already got the information. It's already a part of the judicial record with the grand jury. Near future. Feels like overseas investigations. This feels like meeting halfway. Like they're going to a meeting. It's strange. It's like as soon as I put this card down, the meaning of this one altered a little. Well, not that it negated the original, but it feels like they're going to a meeting. I would have thought that if they were going to a meeting, I would have thought that if that's meant to be Trump world and this is meant to be Russians, it's a bank and the owners are insanely rich. I would have thought it would be, but that's what the energy feels like. Home environment. Oh, Alpha, the people who own Alfa Bank and people who work for Alfa Bank are coming forward to say we're just poor little innocent lambs who've never done anything wrong, and we've stayed off Putin's radar because we are as pure as the driven snow. Yeah. hopes and fears. They're hoping that the hope is that someone made enough of a mistake. You see, some computer records aren't kept. They're destroyed after a certain amount of time. Unless there are people who've made copies. Unless people have moved things and there's records. So investigators will look around for someone who's made a mistake or done something rather that would leave a trace. Other people see. Taming the beast. A part of taming the beast. The lion feels like orange. It feels like Trump. And this is one of the ways that the case against Trump will be made, is it's what that feels like. Final outcome. These actually feel like wires. This is all the information. And this is the sword that cuts through the dross to get to the truth. Was it for nefarious purposes? It does feel like it's already a part of the investigation. These are the original people. The Trump campaign was extremely worried that they were going to lose the election. And people like Trump's sons, specifically Junior, really wanted to make sure their father won, or Jared. But this is the news. This is journalists poking around. This is the journalists who were contacted by some computer scientists who were just looking around at the records, the DNS records online, and we're like, what the heck is that? And how that journalistic investigation went overseas, and the story itself quieted down for a while. But it hasn't gone away, and it's more important than was initially thought. This doesn't feel like Trump. This feels like Jared Kushner. It feels like Jared Kushner being like crushed under a weight. Like in all the court cases and things that are going to come against Trump world, investigators, government, but it feels like an immense weight coming down on Jared Kushner. Like you can't breathe. Almost like you're afraid your ribcage is going to be crushed. Just crushing. Bring some sunlight to the situation. Trying to decide. Bring some sunlight to the situation against the Trump family. When it's like almost it's a connector. Having to decide when are we going to bring this, because there's a lot of other stuff to bring out. That's more important, but this is not to be forgotten or swept under the rug. This is corruption. This is serious corruption. And it is a part of the bigger picture. And again, that temperance card. That communication. Temperance card keeps coming up with Trump. And it's not just that, oh, he doesn't drink. And there's nothing wrong with somebody not drinking. I don't have any problem with the fact that Trump doesn't drink. I'm quite glad he doesn't, to be honest. Trump likes to pretend to be emperor. Not president, emperor. This is how Trump sees himself. Young and can almost feel the fresh air in his hair. But when this comes down, and it does feel like it's going to come down, it feels like this would be part of one sword of all of the swords that finally bring him down. So this is not to be forgotten. It is important, but it's not central. But it does have something to do. I keep getting Jared Kushner, and that has nefarious purposes, or it did. Well, that's what I'm getting. That's what it feels like. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching.